I'm joined now in the studio by the Nollywood star, lawyer and spokesperson for the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council, Kenneth Okonkwo. Thank you, Kenneth, for coming in.
Thank you very much, and thank you, viewers at home.
So, for a few hours before he resigned, the Director General of the P2B presidential campaign was a convicted criminal. How is the campaign and the Labour Party reacting to that ineluctable, inescapable fact?
Oh, well, having read and listened to your submissions before now, I am of the opinion that you have not read the judgment. Because if you have read the judgment, you wouldn't have the same opinion.
It wasn't my opinion.
No, I said the judgment. I'm talking now as a lawyer.
Right.
First of all, the whole aim of the Money Laundering Act was to facilitate the implementation of the recommendation of the Financial Action Joint Task Force on anti-money laundering and combating terrorism. Doyin Okupe was not found guilty on corruption. He was not found guilty on stealing. He was not found guilty on misappropriation of funds. He was not found guilty on terrorism. He was not found guilty on money laundering. The judge actually used the adjectival phrase, honest mistake. Meaning that Doyin Okupe, when he was the special senior assistant to the president, accepted money in excess of what the individual is allowed by Section 2(1) of the Money Laundering Act, which limited it to 5 million to individual, 10 million to a corporate body. He accepted money from the office of the National Security Advisor on the authority of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Doyin Okupe simply went to the president and told him the money he needed to use to run his office, and it was approved that he should come under the National Security Advisor, and he was accepting the money from the National Security Advisor, and the vouchers were there. That was why the judge reached the inescapable conclusion that it was an honest mistake. Why was it an honest mistake? Because it is an infringement on a law that has strict liability. In other words, your intention is irrelevant. So the actus reus of the element of the crime is that he accepted money. But here is the catch. The law said individual or corporate body. The law has not definitely said when you're acting in your capacity as the senior special assistant to the president, when you're acting in your office, not in your individual person, are you guilty? The learned judge has delivered his judgment. They are on appeal to talk on that particular issue, because Doyin Okupe acted in his capacity as the senior special assistant to the president, not in his individual capacity. And that is why the judge made it clear, look, you're not corrupt by any means, but is it not gratifying that when it has to do with Labour Party, we talk about honesty, even in the mistake? What do you compare it with the other parties? Permit me to move into...
Well, but before we get into the other parties, let's kind of clear the air, because this is hanging over the Labour Party, and let's not deflect attention from it, even though your explanation at the outset appears to be, and I emphasize the word appears to have elements of plausibility to it, but the fact remains that Doyin Okupe has been convicted of a crime for which he could have gone to jail for 2 years, and for which he has ostensibly paid a fine.
Good. I want to let you know that even in that act, when you go to the bank, you have the choice of collecting cash in excess of the limits of the law. The only thing is that you have to voluntarily pay the fine associated with it. So when the judge was giving him an option of fine, it's actually what the law allows. Because if I go to law, to the court, if I go to the bank, I can collect money in excess of the cash allowed. But I would just need to pay the fine. That's why I'm telling you that there's no corruption here.
Yeah, but you have to be. Let's just be clear on this. We're not trying to make a meal out of it.
No,
we
let's
want to be very clear
Yes.
on what happened and what the implications
Good.
are.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
The sentencing is, you should pay fine. because you have exceeded
No,
the limit.
Even an option.
No, that's what I'm saying. Put it this way. You should pay fine because you exceeded the limit. In default of paying the fine, you will go to jail for 2 years.
Right. Well, that's
good. And you know the beauty of it.
I mean,
Kupe, being a classical honorable man, even when there was no corruption issue against him, he still resigned. You don't find such honorable men in Nigeria.
Well, the point I'm trying to make,
they are limited in supply.
But when you say he resigned, I mean, was he pushed or did he join?
No, he wasn't. We are in New York doing our rally. No meeting has been held over this issue. The principal simply said he's moving on without distraction. Who will push him? No. The court has already told you. This is not about corruption. This is not about misappropriation of funds.
No, but can I...
This is not about stealing.
But can I make a point here? Because if you talk about 5 million naira and 10 million naira, that's a long way away from more than 700 million naira.
No, that's where you got it wrong.
Well, that's the point we're trying to clarify.
Good. No, it was like the cumulative. It was broken into. It's just like saying in a month you're entitled to receive 10 million.
But he wasn't getting 10 million
Don't,
naira, was he? He was getting much more than that.
No. I'm just explaining to you what happened. It's like I need 10 million naira to run my office monthly. And remember, the law is that you won't collect more than 5 million in cash. Get the point? So each month he collects any money more than 5 million in cash, he has offended.
Yeah, but why
did
he have to
collect
it
in
cash?
That's why you saw so many.
But why did he have to collect it in cash? I don't understand.
You have just brought me to the issue while we are talking that PDP is very incompetent. Because that happened in PDP regime. You can imagine a party that could not even educate its officers at that level, the legal implications of what they are doing. Doyin Okupe is not a lawyer. That is why the judge is saying, sorry, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. He's not a lawyer. Kenneth Okonkwo is. PDP could not even educate its officers at that high level. That is why people should avoid the living of the PDP. Jesus Christ warned his disciples, avoid the living of the Pharisees. Everybody should avoid anything that has to do with such a party that is so incompetent and so incoherent in the implementation of its policies. That's why Okupe got into problem. You hired people, you do not train them on the consequences of the law. You gave them cash yourself. They simply accepted it. They did what you told them to do by law and by the authority of the president, and then you are bringing them to law. But it's important we point out this. EFCC has been so quick in doing this. Ebola Tinubu carried bullion van in cash at the eve of an election publicly. And the EFCC has not even had the temerity of investigating that and asking him questions. Do you know what he used bullion van for? Tinubu has openly confessed what he uses it for. He said to his followers, power is not served a la carte. Power is not served in a restaurant during breakfast. You fight for it at all costs. You snatch it, you grab it, you run with it. What do you fight for? What do you grab? Ballot boxes. That's what he uses the bullion van for. The cash, openly. Nobody has even investigated that. And APC had the temerity of choosing such a man to be the APC presidential candidate.
So based on what
don't you think
saying,
it's time that he resigns?
Well, it's not for me to express my own opinion. But based on what you're saying, you're a lawyer. Is there any way that this case can be seen, this Doyin Okupe case, as politically motivated? Or is it a scrupulously clear case where the law has been properly applied to the facts?
Good. You know, one of the 7 points agenda that my principal has is restructuring the polity through effective legal and institutional reforms that will aggressively fight corruption, reduce cost of governance, entrench rule of law, and ensure the establishment of an honest and efficient civil service. And so when it comes to rule of law, my principle has zero tolerance to any breach of the law, no matter how small.
Right.
That is why I'm not here. That is why I'm not here to defend my DG. Right. I'm here to explain facts.
Right. So you'd recognize that there is
what I am telling you,
right,
as long as the law is concerned, they are on appeal. And when you're on appeal, the judgment is regarded as preliminary, subject to the decision of the appeal court.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to tell you that in Labour Party, our aim, which is a new Nigerian personality that will be transparent and committed to the rule of law, would not allow us to do anything that would suggest that we will support anything that has to do with the breach of law. If you go to page 13 of our manifesto, you will see where my principal made an express commitment to swiftly, firmly, and fairly prosecute criminals, bandits, terrorists, to end impunity. What you're having in Nigeria now is impunity because of lack of these processes. My principal has made it clear that he is going to give fair and transparent dispensation of justice hinged on rule of law. Page 13 of our manifesto, the best manifesto so far. Now, coming to lay political ambush. This is what this is. Why? This case started 2018, and then for 4 years, the EFCC could not reach judgment, and on the eve of election, you're coming with a judgment.
So you think it's politically motivated?
Let's say it is a political ambush. Good. You know, if you do the right thing, okay, if you have been following American politics, you will agree with me that 6 months to the time, any politically sensitive case is suspended until after the election. That is the convention there. Has this been followed here? So it's a political ambush. But you know what? No, we don't have anything to worry, because the best they have gotten is that the man made an honest mistake. But look at PDP. We have President Obasanjo, who happened to be the only principal that Atiku Abubakar ever served on as a political appointee. He said Atiku Abubakar is one of the most corrupt human beings on earth. The only principal that can appraise him. And you know what is happening? Wike said Ayo is the most corrupt national chairman on record. He said he collects billions of naira.
Yeah.
Good. And that Atiku is aware of it. Has he resigned? So when you talk about comparison, the worst of Labour Party is still better than the best of PDP and APC combined.